This is the Ordinary Business Podcast for business owners who want honest conversations, a lean business, and an extraordinary life on their own terms. So let's talk about market research. I know it doesn't sound exciting. It's not the sexy side of business. Nobody's bragging on threads about their Google Forms survey, except probably me. But I honestly think that this is one of the most underrated things you can do for your business when things feel off. And honestly, I would say even if things don't feel off. So if you are feeling like your offers aren't selling, your engagement is falling flat on social media, your content isn't landing anymore, most people respond by just tweaking things, rewriting it again, or trying to post more, trying different trends. But the truth is, if you don't know why things aren't working, you are likely just guessing. So back in the early days of my business, I did kind of like quasi market research. Every December, I would send out a little Google form to my email list. Nothing fancy, just questions like, what are you struggling with? What do you want to learn about next year? What kind of stuff do you want to see showing up in your feed? It was simple, but it worked. And it was really focused. I think I literally called it like a blog survey because I was really using this information for like, what do you want me to make videos and blog posts about? And I got a little bit of a peek inside my audience's brains. But then in 2023 and 2024, I did something it's still market research, but not in the same way of what we're talking about today, because it wasn't around my offers. But I did the State of Online Business survey, which gave me and the audience, because I shared it with everyone, a ton of info about how we're paying ourselves, the tech we're using, our teams, what's working for marketing, etc. I will link to the results in the show notes of this episode if you want to check it out. So while this, State of Online Business survey didn't change any of my offers or my messaging because it wasn't specific to me and my industry, it was like literally for online business owners, some of the insights have helped me shift some of my marketing. So I just wanted to mention it and share it as an example of some of the benefits of market research. Anyways, in 2024, I went all in and I did 55 market research calls in the span of 6 weeks. I did them all individually. There were no group calls. There was no team members helping me. There was no AI bot. There was no Google form. It was me on calls. And it was a lot. It was exhausting, but it was also interesting and enlightening. And I did this because I was having a hard season in business. I felt like I was spinning my wheels. So I decided to kind of pause new client work for just a little bit and spend some time actually talking to people again. Now, obviously, yes, like I'm talking to people every day in threads, comments, and Instagram DMs, and then sometimes in my inbox. But, I wanted to like actually talk to them. So I put out a post all over social and email. Hey, I'm doing market research calls. And in exchange, you can ask me questions. You can have me help troubleshoot something, whatever it is. And that was my incentive, was being able to ask me for help. Some people I know offer like a free product, a workbook, a mini course, whatever it is. But I know from my own personal past experience with my specific audience, people like talking to me one-on-one. So that was my thank you. And I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm so important and people want to talk to me. Like, I'm not saying that. I just know that they prefer that over like some download that I have. So I talked to all kinds of business owners because this was before I fully niched down to health and fitness. It was really fascinating. You've been in business long enough to know that being solo is not a stepping stone. And most communities pretend you either want to be solo because you're broke and desperate, or that you secretly want to scale. And the Ordinary Business Network is neither of those things. We are a network for service providers who are focused on becoming better, not bigger. Sign up for only $150 a year if you join by July 31st. Go to theordinarybusiness.com to learn more. A little peek into how I ran it. Everyone got the same handful of questions, regardless of their business or who they were. And at the start of the call, I would say, there's no right or wrong answers here. I mean, there was no yes or no questions anyway, but I'm not looking for something specific. So I just want you to be honest. There's no judgment. And then I'll ask questions for like the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of the time is yours. I took notes in a spreadsheet every call, so I had all the answers in one spreadsheet. I know I could have used Fathom or, some AI note taker, but I didn't. And I learned so much. And not just about like websites or marketing, but how people think and how they approach things in their business. The way that they talked about their frustrations, the words they used, it was all really, really helpful. Honestly, some of it shaped a little bit of my copy later on, but really for me, the biggest win was just perspective. I realized I'd made a lot of assumptions, and some of them were wrong. And I don't mean like in a bad way that I was assuming the worst about people. I was like, oh, I don't think people care about XYZ on their website, and it turned out they did. So even if you don't walk away with a new offer, a new service, or, whatever it is, you walk away with a better understanding of the people that you're trying to help. And that is what we're going for when we do this market research. I've been seeing a lot of people on social this year talking about how it's been a really hard year for their business for various reasons. And if you're feeling stuck right now, if sales are slow or your engagement is tanking, I can almost guarantee, obviously I can't actually guarantee, but that market research will help. It's not glamorous by any means, but it is very, very helpful. And I would recommend doing calls and not just sending out a Google form survey. Like literally doing market research calls. I know I shared a little bit about like how I did it, but here's what I would recommend for preparing to do this. Step 1 is deciding what you want to learn. Is the issue your messaging? Like people don't seem to get what you do, or is it your offer? Maybe people aren't seeing the value or the timing is wrong, whatever it is. Get clear on that. And honestly, you may not know, and that's fine. But if you have an idea, then you can kind of frame your questions around that specific thing. And if you think it's both, then you can ask a few questions that might help you get some clarity around both of those things. Step 2 is finding the right people to talk to. That might be past clients, might be people on your email list, followers, it might be peers. If you're like me, you can just also put out an open call. Just make sure that you specify who you want. When I did mine, I said yes to everyone. That was a service provider. If I were doing it now, obviously, I would keep it to health and fitness professionals so that the insights actually match my audience. This could also be really good if you're thinking about switching to a new niche or anything like that. I feel like that could also be very insightful. Step 3, this is really, really important. Keep the conversation and the questions focused on them. And I know that sounds obvious, but you don't want to ask like, what do you think when you look at my sales page? Or does this headline sound good? Or what do you think about my package that includes X, Y, and Z? Like, is that ever something that interests you? Like, and I know you're like, well, yeah, I wouldn't position it as a sales call, but I'm saying like, don't even make the question specific to you at all. Make them really broad. So ask things like, what's been most frustrating about XYZ when you think about hiring someone for this? What do you hesitate, or what's your issue? What have you tried before? When you've had a good experience with XYZ, like what made it great? Where do you usually go for XYZ? Some of these questions might be good for you and some of them might not. Maybe you're like, well, I don't need to ask where people go for XYZ because I already know that and like get all my clients from these places. But those are just a few ideas. And these kinds of questions can help uncover patterns. They help show what matter to people, what annoys them. And again, you get language that they actually use. Step 4, like I mentioned, take notes. You're not just looking for what they say, but also kind of how they say it. You can kind of, if you want, make notes of like they seemed really frustrated or they got really fired up about this. But again, just those exact phrases can be really helpful. Again, you could use an AI note taker too. That's fine. But if you do like 20 or 30 of these calls, you will start to see patterns. You will start to see the same words and frustrations pop up again and again, especially if you are really niching down to a particular segment of your audience. You should really start to see some patterns. You can also do this through like Voxer or Instagram voice notes if scheduling calls sounds awful. Now, I don't know how you would organize it without having like 17 Voxer conversations going at the same time. I did offer Voxer as an option. I think out of the 55, like maybe 5 people did Voxer. Everyone else was on Zoom. And yes, 55 calls was a little excessive, for sure. I think if you can do 20 or 30, that is plenty, in my opinion. I don't think 5 or 7 is enough. I don't think that's a large enough pool of people. Yes, you could still get some insight. I just don't think it's quite enough. So that's my thought. But I just want to remind you that market research isn't a one-time thing. I actually did some market research this summer for The Ordinary Business. I wanted some insight of like what people were looking for, what they were interested in, why they felt like aligned to this brand and this message. So just remember that you can revisit whenever things feel off, whether you're launching something new or you're shifting things. If you just feel a little disconnected with what you think people want and what they actually care about. Even as an introvert who was very, very drained during these 55 calls, it also was just really fascinating. And it was actually fun to connect with people too. And it's almost like I kind of want to do market research calls every year just to kind of get some insight into my audience. Like I really want to stay connected to them and really just be in tune to what they are wanting and what's frustrating them. So if you are sitting there feeling like, I don't know why my audience isn't responding, I don't know why this isn't selling, I would encourage you to stop tweaking and start asking. Again, more than just a poll in an email, more than a Google Form survey, more than just like the why didn't you buy email, like really get on a call with people because the answers you need are in their heads and you just have to go get them. But that's all I have for today. If you have any questions about market research, you can come DM me and ask me. I'm happy to help give some feedback. If I fit your target audience, let me know. I'm happy to do a market research call with you and help you out. So, but I will see y'all next time.